Hello, everybody. Welcome to Retail Management BUS302, our Week 2, Lecture 3 video. This is the last lecture video for this week. And in this video, we're going to continue the discussion on retailing, where we've talked about mobile retailing, social retailing. We've looked at the different types of media that can be used, paid, earned, or owned, and then looked a little bit more at the goal of that media is to engage our customers, and looked at the listen, analyze, and do model, where we looked at that. And so this final step that we're going to take a look at this week is we're going to talk about, in this video, is we're going to talk about retail channels. Now, when we talk about retail channels, what we're talking about is some way that we are going to try to engage in a transaction with a client or with a customer, right? So we have stores, we can do the internet, mobile, social catalog, all sorts of different ways that we can engage with our customers. Now, when we have a single channel retailer, we're talking about that we sell and deliver using only one channel or only one model. In other words, maybe a brick and mortar store. That would be a single channel retailer. Now, when we talk about multi-channeling, right, we're talking about using more than one channel. And then cross-channeling is where you're going to cross over into different areas. And then the omni-channel is basically you're just everywhere. It's boundaryless. It's kind of everywhere, right? So the way to think about this graphically, right? So a single channel would be brick and mortar. You go through the traditional wholesalers, everything else. Multi-channel would be you would go direct to consumer via the internet and then through your wholesalers. So you would have two different areas in your company. One would do one and the other one would do the other. They wouldn't really talk. When we move into the cross channel, what you do is you have one individual or one model that you're using for both direct to consumer and your wholesaler, right? So when we talk about multi-channel, you're actually using different approaches to engage with those customers. And then when we get to the omni-channel, again, you're engaging in so many different ways. It could be direct to consumer, mobile, social, brick and mortar, right? Omni-channel, you're doing it all, right? You're not, and it's all based on one company's strategy, right? So you have one single strategy to deal with everything. So you have these different options that you can approach with retail channels. Now, there's some different strengths that you need to be aware of depending on the channel you choose. So like when we talk about in-store retailing, that's one channel, right? The ability to see the products, touch them, have personal service, right? Customer gets to leave with it. They have immediate gratification, and you get paid at that point, right? So you receive the cash payment, right? All these things are really important. It's a great strength of a in-store retailing channel product. Now, when we get into internet retailing, right? So this is where you're engaging with your retailer, your customers via the internet. This could be mobile commerce, m-commerce, right? So this gives you an opportunity to provide a deeper, broader selection of products. In other words, you can provide more to your customers, more products, more options, right? Although you're providing them primarily information, gives them an opportunity to evaluate the merchandise. They don't get to see it, though, or they don't get to touch it, right? You can do maybe more personalization via the internet, right? And the market, you can be everywhere with that. So it's not like you're restricted to your one store. So you can be everywhere, bigger presence. And right, there's all sorts of, you can use information to improve your shopping experience, right? There's all these different things that are really important to having this internet retailing channel strong in your company. LL Bean is a great example of a company that has done really well with multi-channels, whether it's the catalog internet and stores. So they've been able to grow their presence by using the internet, not having to move their stores across the country. So this is a great company to think about as far as having an opportunity to take advantage of the internet. Okay. Now, when we begin moving into internet, moving more into the mobile, this is where mobile retailing is where you're going to have your mobile devices. You can have the location sensitivity, so you can push notifications. The biggest disadvantage or drawback with a mobile side is the small screen, right? You can't show as much on the screen as you can on a laptop, right? which means you have to design a very specific website or maybe have an app for the devices. So that could be a long term that could be a problem. But if you do that, it could be a strength for you as well. Now, when we talk about social retailing, right, going from the mobile to social, right, this is where you're finding ways to have people conduct purchases through their social media, whether it's Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, that have the buy buttons within those. This is this is growing by leaps and bounds. So in 2019, it was $19.4 billion in US sales, and that number just continues to grow exponentially year to year. So social retailing, this is really that next area where you're going to have that buy button in the Twitter, Pinterest, all those types of areas. Okay. Catalog. Now, catalog is probably an older chain, right? So this is where you have the catalog. You place your order from anywhere. You can browse it while on a plane, right? All those things. So the catalog channel is something that was old. This is how Sears became the world's largest retailer in the early 1900s, is through their catalog channel, because people would look at the different catalogs and buy, and then it would be shipped directly to them. So Sears, in some sense, was the first internet before the internet type of company. If you think about it, Sears was Amazon before there was an Amazon because of the catalog channel. But then they missed the internet somehow. I still don't understand that. Another way to do selling in retail channel is direct selling, where you're talking about a face-to-face interaction with a customer when they're at home or at work or at your show place, right? So direct selling is that face-to-face interaction. And then there's automated retailing, like vending machines would be one of those automated type of retailing. So these are all different types of channels. So depending on your product or maybe service, you would choose a different channel depending on what your product is that make sure it matches and works well. So again, looking at some of these things, right? Some of the relative strengths, internet retailing, you have broader, deeper selection, more information, personalization, stores, right? So some different areas. This graphic is in your textbook, so you can review that at your own on your own time and go through just to highlight some of these strengths. Now, when we start looking at some of the opportunities, if you are now moving into the 21st century again, being omni-channel or multi-channel, right? If you have different channels, if you have different ways of engaging with your customers, it gives you an opportunity to build a competitive advantage. Now, if you're really good with omni-channel and make it seamless, where customers can engage in multiple different experiences easily, right, then that gives you a huge huge advantage, because customers want to be recognized and known. So that is going to be huge. Then if they become a long-time customer or lifetime customer, your total cost of fulfilling their order and processing goes down. So it's a huge opportunity to develop multiple channels at the same time, become an omni-channel retailer. Okay. Great example of a company that does this, Apple, right? So they're able to conduct customer research online before it comes to the store, right? They use different models. You can buy with Apple Pay, right? All these things so you have a seamless retail experience with Apple. They're a great omni-channel company. Now, when we start talking about some of the challenges that these multi-channel and omni-channel retailers have, biggest thing is providing that integrated experience. It's hard to provide that experience on the same type of customer service in every channel as possible, right? So you might have a really good like Sears had a really good catalog operation, but not so good internet, right? So that was a huge problem. So you have to be able to do that, being able to integrate and have the same experience regardless of the channel the customer is choosing to use. That is a huge challenge. Right? And then providing that consistent brand image is also a challenge, right? Because if you aren't consistent in your brand image, you don't have a consistent experience, then you're going to have different people think different things, right? So each channel that you have has to reinforce and be consistent with what the company is that image the company is wanting to project. Again, Some other areas that could be a problem, if let's say you have the internet, you're a company that has both a internet channel and a direct, a brick and mortar channel, right? Being able to provide the same merchandise assortment in both, you aren't going to be able to do that, right? So the store will have fewer products than you'll have on the internet. And that could cause some frustration among customers because when they come to your store, they might say, I saw this on the internet, and then it's not available in the store. So that could be it could cause problem, right? And then the other piece is pricing. So sometimes, a retailer will adjust its price if it's in a certain location because of competition. They might lower their price a little bit, but it'll be cheaper in the store than it would be on the internet, and that could cause problems as well, where people are like, "Hey, this isn't consistent. Feels wrong." So again, a challenge that you need to overcome as a retailer working with these omni-channel areas. And then the other thing is where you have this channel migration, right? So this is a problem for some companies, like Best Buy is the one that comes to mind, is that people will go to the Best Buy store and they'll learn about the products in the store. They'll talk to the experts there about various products, but then they'll actually purchase the product online, right? So the showrooming, so the actual brick and mortar is a showroom, and customers are actually purchasing online. So this is a channel migration issue where you're experiencing using one and actually buying in another. So this could be a challenge. Something that you would want to do is reduce that channel migration. And so the way you do that is provide better service, maybe have relevant information on customer data within your store and some things like that. So so this brings us to the end of our week 2 videos. And so this week we talked about some of the trends that we are seeing in the retail industry in the 21st century, things like mobile retailing, social retailing, well, the whole digital retailing, and the owned media, the paid media, and the earned media areas that we talked about. And then also the continued development of retail channels. These are all really important trends to be aware of in the retail industry. And next week, we're going to be talking about how those trends affect our retail strategy and ultimately how we interact with our consumer. So with that, have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you in our week 3 videos.